So I will present a study that we did about the benefits of large carnivore presence in Slovenia, and we did this with a focus group study. So it's a more qualitative analysis. I will also present some narrative examples. I will skip a little bit because we also are a bit in a hurry because of time and because John has already presented this background. So maybe I will just highlight that the current status, that currently Europe hosts several large and stable populations of large carnivores, and that our main task for the future is basically to sustain the recovery. And this recovery of large carnivores, it's in terms of wildlife conservation, really it's a success story. But on the other hand, this is very, how to say, controversial. The large carnivores are controversial species to conserve. And this comes from their way of life. They have huge home ranges, the way of feeding, how they feed, how they prey. And because of that, they come into close contact with humans. And when they come to close contact with humans, they can also prey upon livestock or even occasionally attack pets or people. And this is why many authors recently explain or advocate that this social conflict is the major driver of the conflicts regarding large carnivores. They have become symbols of division between rural and urban populations, and also between individuals that have fundamentally different values and interests. So this topic has become extremely polarizing. And in a recent report I've just read from Professor Linnell, there was actually in that report the interviews showed that people have social barriers when expressing positive values of benefit. So they were afraid to say something positive. So the aim of our study was to do exactly that. So we were trying to find out about the benefits of people in Slovenia, about the benefits and positive values of large carnivores. And to do that, we used a concept that is called ecosystem services, which is one way to conceptualize several benefits that nature provides to people. I will just quickly explain what the concept is about. Ecosystem services are all goods and services that are provided by a natural environment or ecosystem and bring benefits to people and are also essential for our quality of life. We recognize there are different categories. So the provisioning ecosystem services are mainly ecosystem products like food, fuel, water. Then we have regulating ecosystem services. These are benefits provided, derived from ecosystems like air and water, air and climate regulation, water purification, erosion control. Supporting ecosystem services are the ones that are basically enabling all other ecosystem services like soil formation or water cycling, nutrient cycling. And today we will speak about cultural ecosystem services, which are a bit more special and unique in terms that these are non-material benefits that people derive from ecosystems. For example, through cognitive or spiritual enrichment, from like aesthetic value, recreation. So they're regarded as entirely linked to human societies and to human appreciation of biodiversity. So we were interested in what this benefits means to people. We are interested in that. So this is maybe a bit different than the previous talks. They are often intangible and hard to measure. We use these CICES categories that have 11 different categories that I will explain during later in the talk, each of them, and present some examples. So we used focus group, as I already mentioned, and first to do that we needed to design a protocol. We designed a protocol that was meant to kind of encourage participants from all these different interest groups to express their opinions and feelings and values. So we were interested in their interactions with wildlife, particularly with large carnivores. We were interested in what sorts of benefits they think their presence brings. And we conducted 4 focus groups with artists, local tourism workers, local farmers, and local hunters, to also investigate possible differences between these different interest groups, different stakeholders. Then we conducted the analysis of interview transcripts, and we compiled a collection of statements that were then categorized in terms of this cultural ecosystem services concept. Results, we combined together 476 statements that discuss the positive contribution of benefits of large carnivores for individuals and society. As you see, the in the lower part of the picture, the values that were most mentioned were experiential use and educational value. And now we'll just slowly go through the different categories with narrative examples from different stakeholder groups. So experiential values include all cultural services that enable active and experiential interactions, sensory perceptions, and observation of large carnivores. In this category, most statements came from hunters and tourism workers who recognize, for example, bear watching, encountering and photographing large carnivores, offering guided tours as benefits. But interestingly, they mention also the benefit for the whole community. For example, they say, those who come to see the bears also go to restaurants, accommodation providers, shops, and other tourist attractions. They recognize the presence of bears, and to a lesser extent also to lynx and wolf, their value of increasing the attractiveness of the area. When they say, for example, what was previously no name has now become Ložka Valley, the land of bears. Local people have developed respectful relationship with large carnivores. They often find encounters with them inspiring or rewarding. This is one statement. I quote, even though you know they are there, you cannot predict the meeting. And that's always a fantastic moment because it's unexpected. Nevertheless, farmers express their concern about impact that large carnivores have on their livelihoods. They say, they are beautiful animals. It's nice to see them in nature. It makes your heart skip a bit. If they are not in my garden, in my pasture, when there are too many, it's too much. So some less expected benefits also we came across when we were talking to people, that this awe-inspiring nature of large carnivores acts as a socializing factor for locals. For example, they say the bear has become a socializing moment because those of us who are regular hikers don't go alone, we go together. So that was, but again, the same awe-inspiring also works for tourists. And they say if it weren't for the large carnivores in our forests, people would walk all over these areas everywhere. And one of the participants also mentioned that he likes the presence of large carnivores because then there's no people in the woods and he can pick all the mushrooms by himself. Yeah, so these were. Then educational value. Of course, we can learn about large carnivores in their natural environment or through different media. but their existence also allows us to understand nature and ourselves better. And interestingly, this value was mostly recognized by hunters. They seem to be impressed by hunting skills large carnivores have or possess. Once I will read one statement. I have seen wolves chasing a deer, how they ambush it. Couple of them goes ahead, some are behind, how they intercept it. I analyzed how they caught the deer. So it shows that they really observe the animals, the large carnivores, and maybe connect somehow to their hunting skills. They also recognize the value of all animals for healthy forest ecosystems. As they say, a healthy forest ecosystem means having the presence of all these animals, from predators to ants, and that everything is in balance. And they want to pass this, they're proud of this knowledge they have. They want to pass it to the younger children. For example, they work a lot with they organize workshops, they design nature trails and visitor centers. And they also work with the elders in community, which according to their words, it's harder because they have more inbuilt stereotypes. And they say, in this particular case, they were working with an art club for elders, and they say, we have bought books about nature, and we try to eradicate stereotypes about the wolves in the minds of the older members. So I found that quite interesting. Farmers also express their understanding of natural processes and predator-prey relationship. They say, if large carnivores were not in our environment, we would be worse off as far as fields are concerned. The wolf and the bear are scavengers, and they also maintain the deer. While artists conveyed more indirect advantages by emphasizing the lifelong lessons of one can get from large carnivores. For example, the presence of large carnivores can also build a relationship with our fellow man. Just as we behave towards animals, we can behave towards humans. Or they reflect on this human duality. We can slaughter an animal and it's okay. If a wolf eats an animal, it is horrible, but the outcome is the same. So regarding the heritage and cultural value, of course, the large carnivores have been here for a long time and have affected our culture and heritage thanks to this enduring presence among us. And this was really mostly recognized by tourism workers. They say that if bears or other large carnivores would disappear, we would become very poor and empty. Hunters mention names of local places, villages, the appearance in folklore where wolf is portrayed negatively mainly as maybe as more as bloodthirsty, while the bear is more kind and benevolent. And they really express pride because of our tradition of coexistence. They say large carnivores give a good picture of Slovenia. In the museum in Paris, Lovki Potok was presented as an example of good practice of coexistence between bears and humans. And this same sense of pride was also recognized by artists from the statements that they delivered. I forgot one quote, which is also interesting because it speaks about forgotten practices of coexistence. When one tourism worker says, I think she was a tourist guide, she says, in our youth, there were no sheep slaughtered by wolves. No livestock was left outside. There was always a shepherd present, and there were a couple of hundred sheep in a flock. So this is maybe a reflection. This is a statement that says something about how our animal husbandry practices maybe have changed. Because in the past there was a shepherd present, but now mostly sheep are just left alone. Aesthetic value was as expected, mostly recognized by artists. They say that large carnivores are an immense source of ideas and inspiration for creation. They are enriching life, including spiritual life. They do not have a concrete impact on us, but an indirect one. It is almost impossible to live without it. We also shown photographs during the interviews, and participants mainly use positive adjectives to describe the animals. But especially farmers pointed out that it's really nice to see them, but in their natural habitat. So a picture of a wolf and her cubs is beautiful, idyllic, cute, as long as they are in their natural habitat, as long as they are not under my feet or doing harm. Existence values refers to things in nature that one believes should be conserved, and again, mostly recognized by artists who believe our country is more colorful, more diverse, more fulfilled because of the presence of large carnivores. They note the change in the attitudes over the recent years or from the past. They say that today everyone's attitudes towards nature has changed because of the ecological problems. We have begun to feel that our attitudes to nature was not right, that we were behaving like unlimited masters. And participants from various interest groups expressed their deep appreciation for the untamed nature of large carnivores. This was also really interesting. The statements were referring to all of them, especially to lynx and wolf. For example, when you see a lynx, you can feel that it's a wild animal and it has a certain kind of life that a wild animal should have. In the entertainment category, this is the category where we speak about characteristics of species that are that provide material or subject matter that can be communicated via different media. And here a lot of folklore, fairy tales, paintings is mentioned, also photography, film, and video. But what I found interesting was also one benefit of large carnivore presence, more indirect one, that media is basically using that media is the one benefiting from large carnivore presence because they can do a lot of sensationalist reporting to get better coverage. And this reflects in this statement. I would add that this is a media campaign. This presentation of catastrophic situations, this is referring to a lot of reporting about livestock damages, wolf damages to wolf preying on sheep. As if politics is bloodthirsty. Before it was migrants. They need this with them. And bequest value refers to the desire to conserve populations for present and future generation. And this was really highlighted by all focus groups. So all of them believe that we should conserve populations for populations of large carnivores for human populations to come. Even farmers, they express their strong connection to nature. And they say, we farmers, we're connected to nature, so we don't want to kill or destroy a population. Together with hunters, they highlight the importance of mutual agreement, mutual understanding regarding the numbers of large carnivores. They say, we need to discuss what is and to what extent it is bearable and tolerable and reasonable. Mm-hmm. Well, artists recognize also this idea of how health of environment is closely connected to human health and human well-being. They say the absence of large carnivores would be the bleakest prognosis for life, because if it started with umbrella species, it could lead to decline of beasts, and that is the worst stage of the apocalypse, affecting all of us, even if we don't have a personal connection to these animals or their habitats. Regarding symbolic characteristic, I would maybe just mention that especially bear is quite mentioned and quite is associated with authenticity of our towns. It's a lot of times used as an emblem in, for example, emblem of municipality. But what was really interesting was from the hunter statement, it was seen that a bear is seen as another human being. They say bear is another human being, and this kind of suggests that they have some special or maybe deeper connection or some sense of kinship with bears. Wolves are seen as professors who study and observe humans, and the lynx is a prince. They say this several times. The lynx is a prince to me because it covers its prey with leaves and returns to eat. And now just a few more physical use of landscape. This category was, of course, mostly mentioned by Hunter because it also refers to hunting. One statement I found interesting is deer hunting or wolf hunting is indeed hunting. It takes hours and hours. Yes, I hunt. That is why I'm a hunter. I hunt. But some of them also signify a change in focus from exploiting and killing animals to more non-consumptive use of bears. Because we had hunters that were from hunting families that were organizing a lot of bear watching. And to them, they say, we're one of the rare hunting families that prioritize a live bear because we generate higher income from a live bear than from a dead one. Yeah. Scientific value was the least one. The list one mentioned. So I think we need to do more about it. But yeah, the value of the importance of science-based management was mentioned. For example, with the statement, when defining the acceptable number of large carnivores in Slovenia, the experts must consider the results of technology. So to conclude, different interest groups, of course, have many common perceptions about benefits and values of large carnivore presence. For example, they support conservation of large carnivores. This is this bequest values that I was presenting. They also feel a sense of pride, prolonged tradition of coexistence. And they express the need for mutual agreement on the acceptable numbers, large carnivores. But there are also some notable differences. For example, tourism workers highlight this economical value, so generating value, attracting tourists. Artists emphasize aesthetic value and bring more this spiritual and philosophical perspective. For hunters value direct encounters and educational role of carnivores, while farmers express their concern about livestock damages, about the effect that the impact that large carnivore presence has on their livelihoods. And this is important because in the end, culture and norms determine the nature of human-wildlife interactions. And for us, we work a lot with communication. We are trying to communicate, and with our communication also increase tolerance towards these species. And for us, the important lesson would be that these messages, the studies show that messages that are spread broadly to all just really broadly to all different interest groups are often ineffective or can even have an opposite effect if they really deviate from the norms of some other interest group. So understanding these diverse local perspectives supports better dialogue and can help us form more targeted and effective communication, and hopefully pave the way for facilitate conservation and pave the way to better coexistence with these animals. Thank you.